look back and see what I did in the process, the drummers that I had seen play live, I had a pretty good concept of their approach, and that was Elvin, Tony Williams, and I saw Art Blakey a little bit, but it was way, way back. So I wasn't as familiar with him as in the live context. I never saw Philly Joe Jones plays, and I never saw Joe Dukes play. So in the case of Philly Joe Jones, Joe Dukes, and Art Blakey, I actually transcribed a lot of their fills and even time playing ideas, just to really try to get inside their thinking, and that was a real revelation. And then with Elvin and with Tony Williams, since I had seen them play live so much, and in a way already had taken in a lot of influence from those two just growing up, that was a little more just emulating the concept in, as far as as I understood it. And then, of course, I can't play verbatim and don't want to play verbatim as these drummers, so I take in a little bit of information, I work with the transcriptions, or I work with playing along with the original recordings, and then at a certain point, I have to just sort of let it go and let it come in and then do what I do. But I do try to adjust myself stylistically to every tune and even every era.
what I find really interesting, that you in your career, obviously the rock and the completely different music, other than jazz, has been such a big part of your career, and attached to your name and everything. And I'm surprised that even at Berkeley, when you were studying, you were totally into the jazz thing.
Right.
Do you, if you look at what you do now, what your focus is now, what it always was throughout your career, before a journey, after journey, you consider yourself a jazz drummer, a complete jazz drummer?
I always did, yes. I always considered myself a jazz drummer, even when I was really young. 12,
And I mean,
13.
throughout the time with Journey, for example, did you still consider yourself a jazz drummer?
Well, I guess I did, yes. In my mind, I was a jazz drummer, and learning how to play rock was like at first it was just an organic thing. And what I've noticed is that whatever generation you're from, when you grow up, you pretty much, like through osmosis, get the pop music of the time.
Right.
People are very comfortable with the pop music of the time that they grow up in.
Yeah.
So when I was, first coming up, and then the Stones and the Beatles were out when I was young, I didn't really relate to that. I was relating still to
jazz and
swing, to the big band and to the jazz. By the time I heard Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, and Cream and Deep Purple, then I started to get much more interested in the rock side, and it was because I heard the jazz in Ginger Baker, in John Bonham and Mitch Mitchell. I started to hear it from the drums out, and to me the drumming had that jazz influence. So then I just naturally really could play rock without a whole lot of study or anything. It wasn't like studying a rock book. It just could happen because I had the independence from studying jazz, and then it was technically easy in a way to play the rock. By the time I got in Journey, I had to then, of course, take it very seriously and really study it. And it was weird, like I got in, the guys in Journey heard me play fusion. They heard me play with Jean-Luc Ponty. They saw me play a tour with Ronnie Montrose, who was doing like a Jeff Beck type of instrumental rock thing. And so they never even heard me really play straight rock, and I hadn't really worked with singers before. I was mainly working with instrumentalists. So they sort of took a shot with me, but I did do a lot of, at that time, homework. Then I really studied Charlie Watts and Ringo and John Bonham.